Hello everyone. My name is Thomas Richter, and today I'd like to present my undergraduate capstone thesis on the virtual sneaker shopping experience, an exploration in alternative solutions to an in-store sneaker shopping experience. A little bit about myself before we get started. I am an interior design student born and raised in Tokyo, Japan. My inspiration behind this undergraduate capstone thesis was working with the Amazon Explore team from the summer of 2017 to 2020. A new service that connects you to interactive virtual experiences around the world. Ever since my experience with the Amazon team in my summers in Tokyo, I have been interested in pursuing user experience design upon graduation from RIT. My experience with the development of the Amazon Explorer themes through the summer of 2017 to 2020 have created a large interest for me in the fields of UX and UI design. Next, I would like to introduce my capstone committee members for guiding me throughout the entire process of this capstone thesis. My first committee member is Capstone Committee Chair Mary Golden, NCIDQ, the undergraduate program director and professor for the BFA of the Interior Design program at Rochester Institute of Technology. She's a professional interior designer and is certified by the NCIDQ. My two other capstone committee members, my first mentor is Adam Stoker, who currently works at HOK as a senior design professional. Adam's work consists of experiences in the architectural, sustainable, industrial, and graphic design fields. And my last mentor is Rakesh Kumar, is a retail director at Adidas, who is an international retail professional with over 18 years of experience at a strategic and operational level in retail business. Today, I'd like to start my capstone thesis sections. I'll first address the thesis problem, followed by the literature review, then the research agenda, creative agenda, and then the summary and conclusion, followed with citations. This undergraduate capstone thesis investigation explores an alternative solution to an in-store shopping experience using online resources and technology intended for use from the comfort of the customer's home in a post-pandemic society. Keywords are mobile application, post-pandemic society, virtual reality, sneakers, in-store shopping experience, retail, and online. Through the COVID-19 pandemic has created an environment for people to stay inside at home and to access many tasks and entertainment from the comfort of their homes. The pandemic has allowed many pseudo-interior environments to arise, allowing for many in-person experiences to be transformed into online experiences in areas of education and entertainment and workplace. Accessing classes and meetings through Zoom, or enjoying an online experience through the Airbnb and Amazon online experience would be few examples that have involved an in-person online experience during the pandemic. Out of these many virtual experiences, there's one large experience that has not yet made a complete transition from an in-person to a virtual experience, and this is shopping. As you may know, there are two forms of shopping experiences, online or in-store. The online experience for shopping has been largely accessible for many consumers for roughly the past decade. And currently, online shopping through a website or application on a computer or mobile device is pretty common. Online shopping heavily relies on photos and descriptions from the suppliers of the product, which consumers select a product that they think that is suited for the needs in their daily tasks. This statement alone underlies a huge limitation for the current online shopping experience. The three challenges are, it's challenging to gain information needed from a few photos and descriptions. In-store shopping experiences allows for products to be felt for materiality and texture. And thirdly, reaching out to shop managers or staff with an expertise on a product can be difficult. The goal of this undergraduate capstone thesis are to resolve these problems through creative solutions. Next, I'd like to talk a little bit about the research methodology. The research methodology is to understand the current sneaker retail environment, creating a basis to tailor a virtual in-store sneaker shopping experience for consumers. This will be addressed in the literature review and the research agenda. The literature review for this capstone is split into three main sections. acceleration of online shopping due to COVID-19, sneaker shopping retail environment, and analysis of existing virtual stores. The COVID-19 pandemic accelerated many consumers to shift from brick and mortar shopping to online shopping. Looking at a domestic scale in the United States, this figure above shows a comparison of online consumer shopping behavior divided by age group, pre-pandemic and post-pandemic. The data shows online habits of more than 2,000 Americans gathered by the American Life Panel. The figure on the presentation shows younger people were most likely to shop online before the COVID-19 pandemic. Through the data collected, almost half of the participants were shopping online once per week or more, and this has risen to more than 60% after the COVID pandemic has begun. Next, I'd like to talk a little bit about online sneaker retail markets. Within the sneaker retail environment, there are two main markets, the primary sneaker market and the secondary sneaker market. The primary sneaker market is a market for new sneakers that are sold from the original brand or manufacturer. Sneakers that are sold from these brands include, as listed above, Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, and Converse. These all fall under the primary sneaker market. The secondary sneaker market is a resale market in which sneakers that are sold from the original brand and manufacturer, that are not sold, sorry, from the original brand and manufacturer. Most sneakers sellers buy sneakers from the original brand and resell it to consumers. In 2019, the global online primary sneaker market stood at 88 billion, with the secondary sneaker market standing at 6 billion. However, every year, the secondary sneaker market expands in size and price, and it is projected to increase within the next 30 years to rival the primary sneaker market. So this is a little bit of data on the online versus in-store sales in the US. And then within the next 30 years, it is with an expanding digital online audience, it is said that the secondary retail market will be a 50-50 split between the primary sneaker market. Next, I'd like to talk about a little bit of the analysis of existing virtual reality stores. During late 2020, online virtual stores have emerged to replicate an in-store shopping experience. Rather than resembling an online catalog like most e-commerce websites, new established virtual stores use either a 3D rendering of an interior environment or combine images to create a digital walkthrough of an actual physical location for users to navigate through the store. Major brands that have been implemented virtual stores as a response to the pandemic are listed here: Ralph Lauren, Tommy Hilfiger, and Charlotte Tilbury. And a company called Obsess, a virtual store platform, created an experiential e-commerce store for all three brands. This specific example shown on your right is a Ralph Lauren Beverly Hills virtual reality store. As you can see here, users can move through the virtual reality store by clicking on the white nodes. So as you can see kind of on the right here, you could click on the arrows to move in a specific direction. And also users can also orbit around the store to look at all areas of the store itself. On top of all these assets, the menu button is located on the top left of the screen, which allows for a floor plan to pop out, labeling where certain items are located. When clicking on an area of the floor plan, the user is moved to the selected area on the floor plan. Similarly, the menu has a list of products, and when selected, it will also move the user to the specific location of the item in the store, shown on the right of this presentation. So issues behind the Ralph Lauren virtual store. Experiencing the online store, it replaces the typical online shopping experience of browsing a regular catalog on a website and closely replicates it with an online in-store shopping experience where the user is looking through items in a virtual store. It significantly engages the user a lot more than a list of images on an online catalog. However, there are some elements that are lost through this virtual store that users experience in a brick and mortar store. Source by the author McCracken sums this up beautifully. While it isn't boring, it's kind of lonely. What's missing in all the virtual shopping environments I explored were other people walking by, talking, offering to help, looking at and touching things. A large part of the customer experience is to touch the materiality of the product, especially for apparel. And this is lost through a digital walkthrough. Additionally, the human interaction with other customers and staff within the store is completely diminished. The social interaction heavily lacks within stores and virtual stores that exist currently. Currently, there are no virtual stores that allow customers to interact with each other, let alone with the staff. My next part of my research is the research agenda. These include surveys with issues of consumers, what issues consumers have with the current online sneaker shopping environment. And to the right is a user experience exploration on how mobile gaming mechanics can be applied into VR in-store shopping mechanics. So the survey that was conducted examines issues consumers had with the current online sneaker shopping environment, inclusive of different demographics and age group. Additionally, the survey seeks to ask if a virtual in-store shopping experience would be beneficial and wanted by online users. The survey consisted of a total of 17 questions. The survey gathered information from consumers of sneakers from age 18 to 60, shown in the next figure I'm about to show you. The survey was completed with data from 162 respondents and 97 males and 65 females. One of the most important questions asked in the survey was if the consumer shopped for sneakers online or in brick and mortar locations after the outbreak of the pandemic. Each sneaker consumer was asked if they currently shop for sneakers online or at brick and mortar locations. Shown on the figure on the presentation, there is a large contrast of shopping preference between younger and older shoppers. In total, there were a total of 112 online shoppers versus 51 brick and mortar shoppers, with a large majority of sneaker consumers shopping online. There's a high correlation with the age and the shopping media, in which consumers preferred to shop for sneakers. Younger respondents had more of a tendency to shop online versus older respondents, and vice versa. Older respondents had more of a tendency to shop at brick and mortar locations versus younger respondents. Furthermore, respondents were asked why they prefer their option of online or in-store shopping. For respondents that preferred online shopping, here are the main points on why respondents preferred the online option. A 24/7 shopping availability, accessibility to a variety of brands and designers, a wider selection of sizes, styles, and colors, and lastly, the effect of the COVID-19 pandemic. There were many online shoppers that preferred shopping at brick and mortar stores prior to the pandemic. However, many respondents now prefer shopping online due to human contact and safety, which was an underlying issue at brick and mortar locations due to the pandemic. The survey asked if the COVID-19 pandemic influenced the respondent to become an online shopper. Out of the 112 respondents that preferred to shop online, 67 respondents answered that the COVID-19 pandemic influenced respondents to shop for sneakers online. This data claims that the pandemic has greatly impacted more shoppers to shop online prior to the pandemic. On the other hand, for respondents that preferred brick and mortar stores, here are the main points on why respondents preferred an in-store option. Fitting sneakers before purchasing the product, opportunity to feel the materiality of the sneaker, being able to talk to store staff to assist you with specific choices and use for sneakers, and lastly, need to purchase sneakers in a hurry. Out of the 112 online sneaker consumers that buy sneaker products online, many consumers buy sneakers from either primary or secondary sneaker retailers. And the data from the survey shows that 52.3% of shoppers bought sneakers from the primary sneaker market, 40% of shoppers bought sneakers from the secondary sneaker market, and 7.7 of shoppers bought sneakers from other online markets such as Amazon or eBay. Out of 112 online shoppers, only 34.1% of users never had to return shoes. The other 65.9% of users had to return shoes due to not fitting them when first purchased. No proper sneaker solution for feet to be measured are available for online options, unlike physical stores. Lastly, survey respondents were asked if they have tried virtual online stores. Out of 112 online shoppers, 33 respondents answered that they have tried a virtual shopping experience. However, most had a couple underlying reasons of why they enjoy virtual sneaker shopping stores. Most users did not have a VR headset ready with them to fully experience a virtual shopping experience. User interface for VR stores were hard to navigate when freely moving around the virtual interior. And lastly, it was a hassle to look and locate certain products in the store. The key points from the survey was that there's a lack of an ability to try sneakers on before purchasing the product. It was difficult to get a hold of and talk to someone to assist you with your issues. And lastly, there's no option to return sneakers unless they were at a storefront. And the research agenda showed that younger audience for online virtual shoppers would be the design solution tailored for the creative agenda portion. Lastly, from our research agenda, I'd like to talk about user experience exploration, mobile gaming platforms that can be incorporated into a virtual in-store shopping experience. Mobile gaming services, mobile gaming interfaces, main controls are easy to use and understand by users. Players should be able to understand 75 to 80% of the game controls without any explanation. Rollover labels should be readily available for users if they need to be reminded of certain features in the game. This could also be applied into virtual in-store shopping interfaces, which would be easy to understand for the user. Next, gaming lobbies and multiplayer games also allow players to interact and chat with each other before they go to a specific room or dungeon within a game. Most mobile games allow users to talk to each other through a friend system. For interaction in a virtual reality store, a shopping lobby can be populated with other users and avatars when they converse about different products. Similar to a friend system that could be used in social media, both parties could friend each other to get in contact with each other within this system. Thirdly, a little bit about the movement within mobile games. There's node-based movement. In a virtual interior space, the user can click an avatar to relocate and rotate the user to a different point in the space. This is used in most mobile gaming apps as it allows issues with the application with setting the view of the angle for the user, and it allows an easier navigation around the virtual interior than free movement, which is when users use their avatars to walk or run through a space to get to their destination. Lastly, in free-to-play mobile games, whenever a user logs into the application, they are rewarded with some sort of gift to reward the player. This can range from anywhere from in-game currencies, coupons, or anything beneficial for the player. The goal of a login bonus is that users stay hooked and engaged to continue playing the game. A similar feature can be used for a virtual sneaker shopping store, where users can be rewarded with discount coupons, access to early product releases, or waitlists for user engagement. The key points from the user experience exploration is that mobile gaming mechanisms are highly beneficial resources to reform and create a virtual in-store shopping experience. Adapting mechanisms such as game lobbies, node-based movement, login bonuses, and special events are highly beneficial when designing mechanisms for a virtual store. The core components of mobile gaming are utilized in the designing of the next section of the creative agenda, where controls and features are easy to understand and use. This mobile application will strive to create an engaging virtual environment for users to interact with others and enjoy the shopping experience. Next, I'd like to talk about the creative agenda. The design methodology is to develop, determine, and design a system for a virtual in-store sneaker shopping experience for both the consumer and store through a mobile smartphone application. The solution proposed to address the undergraduate capstone research question is to create a virtual store that creates a simulation of an in-store shopping experience for sneaker retail businesses accessible on mobile devices and mobile devices. The store will strive to create an in-store shopping experience to browse sneaker products from using technology available on mobile devices we use daily. So to illustrate this concept, a hypothetical secondary sneaker retail market, Move, was created to demonstrate the solution for the research question. Move is an online sneaker retail business that mainly sells athletic sneakers for various sports and from numerous brands. The Move company follows a sleek and minimalist design within its virtual interior through its user interface of the mobile application. Move strives to expand its global presence in the secondary sneaker retail market with its virtual store and create an in-store shopping experience for users through a virtual interior environment. In order to understand this application, we're first going to create a persona. Mark Miller, age 24, male, is interested in many sports, but is currently interested in running marathons. Mark wants to buy running shoes, but wants a wide selection of shoes that are not available to him locally. Hence, he downloads the Move application from the App Store. The Move virtual store is accessible through a smartphone application downloaded by the App Store or from Google Play. Once downloaded, the user opens the application to move forward to the login screen of the application. The application will bring the user to a sign-in, create account page where the user can create an account or sign in. In this case, our persona, Mark Miller, creates an account and shortly later signs into his account. So we're just gonna sign in here. After signing into the account, the user is asked a series of questions. These series of questions are used to profile the user to create an optimal layout of the store for the user that identifies the user's gender, shoe size, sports they're interested in, and by brand. By going through this filtration selection, the app generates the brand and products that would be recommended for the user. So in this case, Mark Miller is a male. He has size 10 shoes. He's interested in running. And he is interested in Nike, Adidas, and Mizuno. This then leads Mark to the homepage of the layout. So the virtual store interior layout is very minimalist in nature, like the Move brand, where it consists of 4 different brand shelves based on user preference. The user can select up to 4 brands of their preference and customize the location of the sneaker brand. In this scenario, Mark ends up choosing Nike, Adidas, Mizuno as brands he was interested in. Therefore, the application system brand shelves were automatically populated with sneakers from these 4 brands. There are several ways for Mark, the user, to navigate the virtual store. The user can navigate the store by pressing nodes, searching for a product, or toggling and swiping between brands to move to a brand shelf. In this case, Mark selects this node, moves to the Adidas shelf. Here, the user can slide through different brands and select on specific products that are interested. In this case, Mark is interested in this shoe on the bottom left. This is the item description and purchasing screen. The item description the purchasing page has a couple of assets and features. One is a product image of product image that could be rotated 360 degrees. This is a prototype, so we won't be able to do that. But the product can be rotated 360 degrees of all angles so that the sneaker is visible by all angles by the user. Secondly, on the bottom, there's an item description providing information of performance information, material specifications, color variants, and intended uses. On the top right here is a foot measuring tool. And by pressing this icon on the top right, it opens up the camera feature on the iPhone. And the LiDAR scanner will be incorporated to measure the width and height of the width and length of the user's foot. The application will then automatically select the best size of shoe for the user by using this feature. So in this case, by using the LiDAR feature, Mark Miller the application selected that he was a size 10, so automatically selects it for him. As you can see here, you could select quantity, color. And additionally, there's an AR fitting feature that is located by also pressing this foot tool, where the users can test fit their sneakers through a camera lens by using augmented reality. In this case, Mark is set with his purchase. So one sneaker, race blue, size 10, and he proceeds to place his product into the cart. Now, Mark Miller, after purchasing a shoe, wants to select and look for more long distance running shoes. Mark goes to search for product and search in running shoes for long distance runners. As you could see, a selection of shoes are shown displayed under the search bar, and each sneaker is provided with the brand, image, sneaker, and name. The list of sneakers is formulated by the keywords, and the user can scroll down through the list provided. In addition to this key term search, Mark wants to filter his search on price and sports. Mark wants to also gift his friend a pair of basketball shoes. So here he selects the filter. That's not good. There we go. The filter button. And it brings him to a list of where he could select price ranges, brands, and sports. And in this case, he wants his friend to get a Nike basketball shoe. So he selects Nike. And additionally, he wants to look for more running shoes, so selects Adidas, Mizuno, and running. So besides the application, there's also VR application located on the bottom left of the screen. And today I've prepared a short video of the VR side of the application. So as you can see here for the VR side of the application, this is a control panel. Sorry, I'm going to stop it. Sorry, technical difficulties. There we go. Start. All right, let's try this again. So the VR side of the application has a control panel on the bottom, the left, a switch to mobile mode, a shopping cart, a VR menu, and a home screen. Very similar to the mobile device, it has nodes on which you could select products. So as you could see here, as it stops, there's going to be nodes where he selects the Adidas shoe again. And very similar to the product, he places in cart and also moves towards the Nike shelf. Here, he could select from also a variety of Nike shoes. In this case, selects the Nike Free Run 2018 shoe and places into cart and puts it back. By pressing the home icon here, it places him back into the original position of the VR store. So as I mentioned earlier, the VR interior store layout is a very minimalistic layout in nature where it consists of 4 different brands, shelves based on user preference, where the user can select up to 4 brands of their preference and customize the location of the sneaker brand. The sneakers have a 1-week return policy. So if there's no visible stains that can be sustained on the sneaker, for the sneaker to be eligible for returns. This is shipped out to the user, and there'll be no refunds if the product is returned with any form of damage. All components of the shoe must be restored into the packaging and mailed back to the store with this mailing address as shown in the contract. An online form must be completed in the move application for products to return within within 1 week of the product being purchased. Lastly, I'd like to summarize and conclude my presentation. The Move virtual in-store sneaker shopping experience is a design alternative for users to enjoy and further entertain and elevate the shopping experience for users through a mobile device. In conclusion, this curated virtual online shopping experience closely replicates the traditional brick and mortar shopping experience with a kick of technological flair. With knowledge of online and virtual systems from other industries, the Move mobile application is a concept that is to greatly elevate and expand an online shopping experience. Through knowledge of virtual rendering softwares of interiors that exist today, the possibilities of online shopping is limitless. Shopping experiences are able to be creatively curated with help of technological assets we hold in the palm of our hands. Here are my citations from the presentation and from my manuscript. And here are my secondary resources. Thank you for everyone for listening for this presentation of the undergraduate capstone thesis, The Virtual Sneaker Shopping Experience, an exploration and alternative solutions to an in-store sneaker shopping experience. Now would be a great time for any questions and comment by the committee and by scholars. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Thomas. I'm going to open the floor up to Terry to offer her cross-examination.
Hi, Thomas. Thank you so much for that presentation. You've presented some really interesting and innovative ways to shift and maybe merge some in-person and online shopping experiences. My first question is really the platform that you chose. You talked about integrating VR, but you also talked about the number of people that are using VR is only what, 33, I think, of your user group, and people struggling with it because of busyness. So I'm just curious why you then integrated this sort of not very common platform and how you see yourself overcoming some of those barriers.
The main platform for this application is for mostly mobile users, just because VR shopping, just a VR shopping experience through a laptop is highly, let's just say, inaccessible for users. But a VR option is allowed for the mobile application. I forgot to mention, through a cardboard headset that could be bought through the application, where they could slide in the mobile screen into their the cardboard headset, just in terms for accessibility. So it's a component of the mobile application.
So what makes this platform and the navigation different from looking on Zappos or looking on any of these online apps that showcase all sorts of sneakers in a thumbnail or in a scroll screen?
For sure. So I'm going to answer this question in 2 phases. Actually, let me just go back. There we go. So this is the main screen for the application. A lot of online apps these days are basically, how applications are formatted is where they browse through a catalog and they scroll through screens. This kind of creates a virtual dynamic where the user can the user can move from node to node. And I kind of mentioned it earlier in the presentation. It's called node-based movement, used in mobile applications of mobile games, where the user isn't moving the avatar or the person, but rather pressing locations to move to within this virtual environment for easier navigation for this virtual store. So I implemented this system of navigating through different places, through selecting different locations within the store to move to. And secondly, the VR option switches from this node-based movement to kind of a free movement of where the user can move around this space freely, just because there is, you have a headset on, and it's easier to navigate a freely movable space with a VR headset rather than a mobile device where you have to kind of scroll around the screen to get to certain locations. So that's why I changed the kind of the movement asset between the mobile application mode of the virtual store and the kind of the VR mode of the store, where it's more free movement, where they can control the avatar move within the space.
So it looks like though your store layout is pretty minimal. Where would I imagine that I would be navigating through? The application seems great because it's kind of like a choose your own adventure, right? I choose my brands, I choose my sport. I love the idea that you can sort of measure my foot and find the right fit, because that's sort of one of the key components of in-person. And I'm just wondering, you know, some of the things you mentioned is materiality, being able to touch and feel a shoe, having an engaged experience with a customer service rep, or, you know, often I feel like with Amazon and with Zappos, you're looking at customer reviews. How do you imagine, aside from just the navigation of finding and this beautiful platform of seeing this sort of wall of shoes like I would in a store, how can I get those enhanced experiences of being able to feel, is this shoe heavy? Is it light? Does the texture feel good? The color feel good?
Yeah, so in terms of kind of feeling the materiality of the sneaker, I did quite a bit of research to find ways on how to kind of overcome this deficit. And kind of the best way was kind of doing, let me just go back to the shipping slide. I'll go over to all like the site and seeing,
Right.
There we go. Yeah, so I thought it would be best to do a 1 week return policy of where they're sent the sneaker and they could feel and like touch the sneaker, not get it overly scuffed up. And they could kind of wear, test, feel the sneaker. And if they like it, they could keep it. If not, they could return it back to the store and try a different product. In terms of looking at how the different colors would go with their fit, or if the kind of measuring out these features, that's mentioned. Sorry. I didn't directly put it onto my slide, but I will quote what I said here. Yeah, so there's a foot measuring tool that uses a LiDAR scanner that's supplemented by Apple. And this allows the user's feet to be measured width and length. And the other feature is the AR fitting feature, which is located with the foot measuring tool. And this feature allows to test sneakers on through a camera lens with like their clothes on through the kind of a fit to see how it looks, how users like to see themselves with the sneakers on with kind of shoes that they have, clothes that they have in their wardrobe.
They'll get like a little like mock-up visual of the shoe on their foot. I mean, I'm sorry, say that.
Yeah, so it basically what happens, I kind of glossed over this really quickly, but this feature allows for the shoe to snap on to kind of their feet, their actual feet through the camera lens.
So they
that's
can
kind of
take
the feature.
a photo and sort of
Yeah.
superimpose the photo shoes.
Mhm.
So I think that it's an interesting platform. I mean, it's interesting because I love the parallels you make between the gaming community and sneakers. And my gut says that the sneaker community, this app and the way that you're presenting this is really for the young market, the 20s to 30 something that's really into the sneaker market.
That's, yeah, I covered that market specifically because through my research agenda, most of the surveyors that used an online platform range from age 20 to 30. Therefore, I tailored this design solution for a younger audience.
How many of the people in that audience are gamers that would be familiar? You talk about using very parallel systems and parallel navigation because it's intuitive. So let's say that there's someone in that age range that isn't really a gamer. I'm just curious as to know how much of that audience actually overlaps to give a rationale for that platform, and how many are going to be new users that will have to then, there'll be sort of a barrier to entrance and they'll have to figure out this navigation. And is there a way to ease that transition for that community?
That is a good question that I didn't really think about. But in terms of like parallels on how I specifically during my research, I specifically chose mobile gaming applications just because it's kind of a gaming. Mobile gaming applications are much easier to pick up than regular console devices where you have like a controller, because the dynamics of the controls, if you could regulate your regular iPhone or smartphone, it should be rather easy for users to pick up.
Right.
So that's kind of my reasoning. I should have probably done more research on parallels between kind of the two audiences, but that's something I could think about for future reference, I think.
Yeah, I'm curious also, like, you said that there are those 4 options for brands. Like, what other options are there for finding shoes? Like, one of the things I used to love about shoe shopping, and not sneakers in particular, but just shoes in general, is that most of the time, unlike other shopping experiences, you sit down and someone comes, measures your foot, tells you which brands best fit your feet, and then can make those suggestions for you. And then they just start bringing shoes. I always joke that the big Nordstrom shoe sale is that you're sitting down and there's just piles of shoe boxes next to you. And I'm wondering, the way that you navigated this product, it really made me have to know, what brands do I like? I mean, what if I don't really know what brands I like? Which shoes fit me best? And I think a lot of these brands are making a variety of width and styles to try to, capture a larger audience. Obviously, some shoes have their standards, and their lasts, I think, have a certain standard width and size. So that's different. But I'm just wondering, if I were to push this app and your platform to the next level, what's the sort of ease of use, and what's the way to get like my mother or the next generation to really easily find the sneaker that best works for them without having to have all this prior knowledge of what they prefer and what they use? And where's the customer service aspect of your model?
Okay. For kind of the getting to know like preference of what sneaker models the user wants to use, in this case, for example, in this design, I was more thinking of like reviews by other customers, and they could engage through kind of a chat-based device. Again, I kind of tailored this towards a younger audience just because of my kind of my results from my research agenda. I think in general, just like to try to engage that the older generation of people that want to buy sneakers online. I think there has to be less, it has to be more flushed out, I'd say, than like it has to be really, really simple, very, very simple for users to for older users to understand specific controls. I think there should be probably up to 1 to 2 controls within the applications, so it's easier for the older generation to kind of navigate the application. And then what was the second part of your question?
I'm just saying, like,
Kinda,
you talked about that customer service aspect and the idea of being able to get some assistance. I mean, I think your navigation is actually pretty simple. Like, if I were to just walk into your store, assuming I didn't have to answer those questions, the node-based movement is pretty intuitive, right? I know what I'm pressing, I'll get more information. But I'm just curious to that next level. Like, I want to know which ones fit a wider foot, which ones are lighter weight. Let's say I have flat feet. How would I know which ones best fit that need?
Yeah, I didn't specifically address that kind of in the creation of this application, but from kind of the research that I conducted, this is not obviously included in my manuscript because I didn't really go into a deep dive about this aspect of kind of the virtual sneaker shopping experience. I would say that anything from a kind of a chat forum or kind of a shopping lobby of where people could interact with experts or people that or with staff, like designated staff from a certain like time period during the day would be beneficial to kind of take this application a step forward.
Yeah, I mean, I love the way that you've sort of recreated that in-person shopping look onto this digital platform. I guess from my understanding of your thesis is that you were trying to bridge the two, bringing that in-person experience to the digital platform, creating this usability, which I love. The one element I feel like I'm lacking is,
It's kind of
in this scenario, you'd be able to see other people, see what they pick. That's half the shopping experience. You see someone grab a shoe and you're like, oh wait, which one was that one? And you ask them the experience. And I know that you mentioned it in your manuscript, and you mentioned that that's part of the gaming experience that you wanted to integrate. I wish I would have heard a little bit more about it, because I think that human aspect, or somehow this digital engagement via this human engagement via the digital platform, would make this overall experience very uniquely different than Amazon or Zappos or any others.
Yeah,
I don't know if you.
I think that's one. Yeah, I think like because I know we have a revision coming up for like May 13th. That's probably an aspect that I don't think it's too difficult to kind of flush out that aspect of the application. So that's something that could be revised for kind of the last edition of kind of the manuscript. I could do a little bit of a deeper dive.
Done any research into Tony Hsieh and the founder of Zappos and his concept of happiness? When he first created the model of Zappos, one of the really key things he did, and he's written a book about it, was building an empowerment to his everyday online staff so they could offer discounts, they could offer promotions, and they had a lot of information at their hands that typically at the time you didn't offer to, sort of phone staff, people that were answering phones. And what I thought he did was he really did change the user experience when you were going to call this. It was before online shopping was as popular as it is now. But I thought what he did was really think about the user experience. I'm looking on their website for sneakers or for shoes. I really want to know what the parallels are. You call in, and there was always someone available to help you, to give you advice, and to also offer you some benefits and discounts. So it might be interesting to look into a little bit of the model that Tony Hsieh used. He's written a lot about it and how it really elevated the experience for the shopper into what we would typically see in an in-person experience, but it was now, catalog shopping or online shopping.
Got it. Can you just spell out the name?
Oh yeah,
Tony Hsieh?
Tony Hsieh, Tony, and I think it's HS. It's Taiwanese. Look up Zappo CEO. Let me see if I can find it. But if you say Zappo CEO, unfortunately, he recently passed away.
Mhm.
So you might find those articles. But he wrote a book, HSIEH, and I
Got
thought
it.
he had a really innovative way of considering the user experience and the shopping experience. It might give you some insight and ideas.
Mhm. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think that's all the questions I have so far, Mary.
Thanks, Terry. Adam, I see that you're on the call. Is Rakesh on the call also?
He was earlier for a split second. I saw him come into the call, but
Okay.
I don't see him
I
right
don't
now,
see him
which is
right now.
weird.
Okay. So Adam, we'll open the floor to you for comments for just about 5 minutes, and then we'll need to jump into a breakout room.
Great. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Great. So really nice work, Thomas. I'm pleased to see how much this has progressed over the duration of, the entire Capstone process. Some of the items that I was glad to see that you kind of talked about in previous meetings and one-on-ones were, some of the research that you did on gaming. I thought it was interesting to learn about, the node-based movement and kind of the social media aspect or the gaming lobbies that you brought brought to attention. And I also really liked that you were able to find sort of like a case study virtual shopping experience, Obsessed, I think it was called. I thought that was good to say, hey, there's something sort of similar to what I'm attempting out there, and it's already successful. It's being used by fashion giants. So I thought that was nice to see. Again, that was something new. I don't have a lot more to add to what Terry said. Some of the things that I thought needed a little, or I would have liked to see a little bit more development were on like the customer service end. I think that really would have helped, anchor or respond to your initial question about how you're kind of merging the two experiences, the shopping, the virtual / mobile mixed with, what people are missing from the in-store. And then I would also have been curious to see a little bit more development in terms of like the social media aspect that you brought to attention with, some of your gaming research. Like I said, a lot of this, I think Terry has, done a great job at bringing to attention. And honestly, I think those were my biggest points. Something that, I mean, if you had another several months to work on this, I have like recommendations and thoughts and stuff, but I'll just keep it brief with one of them. I think with the infrastructure that you have for your app, you could potentially introduce in your search method a way to just search the descriptions for each shoe that might help a shopper who doesn't know what they want to find what they're looking for. So like Terry said, Mark was a person who knew what he wanted, and it was, your presentation about what Mark was looking for was really successful because you showed how a person who knows what they want can shop for something that they're looking for. But then how do we address those of us who aren't really sure? Maybe we know we need a new running shoe, but we're not sure about the color or how other people feel about it, or what its fit reviews say, and a bunch of other things. But I think that the infrastructure that you have could take on minor tweaks to kind of include some methods for advanced searching and things like that. But overall, I thought you did a really good job. I know you worked really hard. So yeah, my hats off to you.
Thank you very much.
I was muted. Thank you all very much for your comments. Congratulations, Thomas. You did a great job. I'd like to extend a sincere thank you on behalf of RIT's Interior Design Program to Terry for joining us today as our cross-examiner, and to Thomas's committee members, Adam and Rakesh, for their feedback. We're indebted to you for your cross-examination of our students' work, and we would also like to recognize Adriana for helping us behind the scenes. And thank you to our audience, especially for your support and attention for Thomas. The committee and examining scholar will now enter the breakout room for deliberations, and this completes the final oral defense for Thomas Richter. We will be closing the session out following this student and reopening again at 1:30 for the next afternoon session. So we thank you all for attending and hope to see you shortly.